thank you for tuning in and watching our very first discussion, getting ready for our very first Elysian launch, Delorean Age Rewind Primer. I'm Hannah Noe, this is Michael Putman, and David Rodriguez. So we're going to tackle a few topics today just to kind of talk about the industry in general, and of course, the primer. So let's go ahead and I mean, for me, my first question is, how was Elysian conceived? How did it come about? Was it one of you? Was it both of you organically coming together and saying, oh my gosh, yes, this is exactly what I've been thinking?
That is. It was definitely both of us. Everything we do together. But it was conceived out of a need.
Right.
A need that we saw ourselves in the products that we were using, and a need that we experienced with the clients that we came into contact with on a day-to-day basis.
Right. We found that exactly what we were dreaming of, this makeup heaven, if you will, was something that a lot of people wanted, and it doesn't exist yet.
So I mean, so who does what? Is somebody logistic and the other's creative, or again, is that another shared territory? It's just all
right. I mean, it is very shared. This is our very first time going out on our own, starting our own business.
It's a new venture.
Right, so there's a huge learning curve here. There's a lot of things that we don't know, so the best way to kind of tackle that is to kind of tackle it together, head on.
We rely a lot on each other to get things done and to get things done properly.
Right, so whether it's creative or whether it's operational, we're sharing the bulk of the work.
And like you said, learning together.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, why did you feel, you must have been so unhappy with the pre-existing standard and what the industry had to offer that you had to literally go out and start your own entire line. I don't just mean a product. You have big plans for Elysian. It's going to be more of a lifestyle brand, essentially. So,
yeah.
You were just not thrilled. Well, you just weren't thrilled with the industry in general. So you're like, I got to.
Yeah, it's not so much that I hated what was out there, because we're makeup junkies. We love to buy cosmetics. We buy everything. Of course, we're our own client.
Right.
But it came from frustration. It was trying everything and seeing everything and knowing exactly what works and what doesn't.
And the fact that there is a lack of a standard out there in the cosmetics industry, right? So if you look at places like Canada or the European Union, there is much more tighter control on regulations when it comes to the ingredients and formulations of cosmetics products.
Right.
There's much less restriction here in the United States. And that's something
much less, yes.
And people would be actually very surprised to see how much longer the laundry list of ingredients is in the European Union or in Canada versus what it is here in the United States.
Right, and for me personally, and my clients and coworkers, we're desirous of that. It's not that we don't want those guidelines, it's just that we didn't know. So how do you guys...
know we needed them, yeah.
Right, so how do you intend to kind of, I guess, gesture towards that or encourage more of that?
It's about starting the conversation. So exactly what we're doing here.
Yeah, exactly. Education is
absolutely
key.
It's about informing the client about what they're using on their skin, what those ingredients are, what they do, what they should avoid, what they should look for. We want to be transparent as a brand. Right. That's one of the frustrations that we deal with, is the smoke and mirrors of the industry.
Right. That is the standard now. The standard now is for you to, if you're formulating a product, pick out a couple of nice sounding actives to include in there just as a sprinkling, as a marketing means of selling the product. Versus for us, it's not about the story or the marketing, it's about us really putting things in there that are going to change and transform your skin.
Right. All right, well, so I mean, what sets Elysian apart from all these other brands? You said innovation, the transparency, all that stuff, but what do you say sets it apart from everything else?
I would say the cornerstones that we live by. They're innovation, vegan, and non-toxic. There really is no one cosmetics brand that you can find all of those things under a luxury umbrella.
I was just going to say, under the luxury.
Right. Most of luxury products out there are either housed in packaging that doesn't keep your actives stable, or they're drenched with alcohol and fragrance in that formula, so that's really doing bad things to your skin.
And let's really think about this for a second. We're thinking about what is a luxurious experience, right? And for the longest time, the standard of a luxurious experience is putting on something on your face that smells
and feels
fragrance and feels really rich
silky,
and all of these things, but really is it a luxurious experience for you to
Wake
be
up the
using
next
this
day.
and then wake up with like some sort of irritation on your skin or a breakout.
Yeah.
I don't personally find pimples or breakouts to be a
aren't
luxurious
luxurious,
thing,
right.
So why incorporate ingredients and things that are just going to lead to that, right? That's what we wanted to kind of cut out.
Absolutely. So, I mean, as you're saying, luxury, we can all talk about our affinity for luxury. So why did you want to stick with that rather than doing a mass market line, something that's a bit more appealing to everybody, or?
I don't think that if it came to mass market, it would have been able to, it wouldn't have been our dream. It wouldn't have been like the specific dream and vision that we had for this line, because there's just no way for us to take even the formulations that we're making and make them any less expensive to go into a mainstream market.
Right.
Absolutely. We got a lot of pushback when we were formulating our products because it is the standard to put your active ingredient in there at 1% or less, and really just putting it there so you can put it on the packaging
And so you can
say
say
that it's there.
Exactly.
Right, but it's not there enough to do anything to your skin, but the alcohol and fragrance are there. You know, that's doing something.
And they're there in much higher quantities than
It's so
the
insane.
actives are.
Yeah, of course. So it's really just trying to make makeup that transforms your skin while you're wearing it. You know, not just covers
Immediately
your problems.
too, immediately and
Long
long term.
term,
Because I
right.
feel like that's where we lose a lot of the youngsters too, is you don't see it the next day, or
Right.
even within a week, and then it's like,
We
don't
live in a
want it.
society that's very
Instant
like instant
gratification,
gratification,
for
exactly.
sure.
So, which is great because I mean, our products will offer you that instant gratification. It'll give you, like Delorean, for example, will give you that instant blurring, that
Yeah.
instant smoothing.
Polish,
Plumping.
absolutely.
Exactly,
I
something that you can just use on its own. You don't even have to incorporate
Makeup.
into
Right.
the after fact. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? For all you men out there.
Yeah, it just refines the skin. It neutralizes the redness. It plumps up the lines and
Hydration,
texture.
yeah.
Yeah, of course.
So question is, why a primer? You know, I mean, for me, I was just talking about how I love luxury, I love the color, I love the shadows, the
Right.
lipsticks. Why, I mean, for lack of a better term, boring. It's the boring product in a color line. I'm just gonna say it. And a
Right.
lot of people feel like they don't need it, or they feel it doesn't work, or some clients say, oh, it made me break out, I'm not gonna do that.
Right, it's the
Or-
bald-headed stepchild.
Yeah. Yes.
Of the makeup industry.
Unfortunately, yeah. So, how are you going to kind of introduce it to your client as it being absolutely essential, the first step, and why you can't just forego it?
Right. We know as makeup artists that your skin only, or your makeup only looks as good as the skin that's underneath it, right?
Yeah.
So that's why skincare is so important. That's why exfoliating is so important.
Prep in general,
Right,
yeah.
of course. And the primer only is an extension of your skincare, you know, because it has the skincare actives in it to actually help your skin as a skincare. You can wear it at nighttime as a moisturizer if you have more oily skin.
Okay.
But it's more about refining the texture and extending the wear of your makeup time. How many times do you put on foundation and you feel like all of a
Falls
sudden,
flat.
right?
Soaks
Or maybe like your pores are accentuated or the fine lines are
Right.
accentuated. Your skin maybe looked better before you put on the foundation, right?
Right.
It maybe evens you out, but you.
It's the lack of prep there.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that that's very important, and it's also important for us to know that it just makes sense to start at the very beginning of where makeup starts.
The essential,
Primer.
the actual first step.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know, how many times are we dealing with our own clients, and the clients are like, well, I don't really need to worry about that because that's what makeup's for. And
Yeah,
they just slap the
especially
makeup
the
on.
youngsters.
Right, they just slap the makeup on to get rid of that.
Or to cover up whatever. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's really not the way that you should be going about it. You should be
Right.
going about it in a way where you're taking the steps to prep your skin. And especially with something like Delorean, it's not just prepping your skin immediately, it's long-term benefits as well,
Right.
so that you don't potentially have to wear as much makeup. You know what I
Right.
mean? That's the goal, not having to wear loads and loads and loads
Right,
of
to
makeup.
cover. Right.
Right.
We only want to accentuate and bring forth.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
express
the
ourselves.
beauty.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. So speaking of the youngsters, with these 20-year-olds, how do you express to a 20-year-old that preventative work and anti-aging products are just as much for them as it is a 55-year-old? It's not about necessarily, oh, I'm young, I don't need that. It's anti-aging, I don't need to worry about
Right.
that.
I think that there's a giant misconception out there
Right.
that because something is anti-aging and you're young, you don't need to partake in that. I think that they come to a rude awakening once
At
they're
30.
in their 30s and they haven't done any type of preventative work to their skin, and then all of a sudden it looks like a truck hit you, and it's like
Literally, you
have-
wake up and you're like, oh
What
my
happened?
God,
You know what I
just
mean? And-
happened. Yeah.
this is the time to be taking the necessary steps to make sure that your skin is going to.
Absolutely, yeah.
You only get one.
Yeah.
Your skin is your largest organ in the body. So
And it's the last to receive the nutrients from your body.
So it's extremely important for you to take the time now to protect it.
Yeah, what you do now, you'll see in the future.
Antioxidants and all those things. So that way, later on, you're not looking to like surgical options for you to be able to get rid of the things that you don't want to see on your face.
Yeah. So you mentioned earlier that one of the main pillars, a cornerstone of this line would be vegan. It's a vegan, cruelty-free line, which I absolutely love. I know a lot of people that love that as well. But are you at all nervous about coming out of the gate swinging with something so aggressive? Maybe it might rub somebody the wrong way, or especially because it kind of leads more into not necessarily just makeup, but that starts to talk about lifestyle and life choices. So are you a little bit nervous about that?
I think it's important for everybody out there to know that we're not trying to come out the gate and like throw a lifestyle on you. You know what I mean? It's like really the whole point of creating this line as a vegan line is the idea of inclusiveness, right? We didn't only just look at this and think, okay, we want to create a makeup line that's good for all skin types, all skin tones, all genders, all ages. You have to look past that, look into other things that affect people's lives and their lifestyles. And tons of people out there are vegans, and there's a lot of makeup lines out there that are now starting to go to the vegan route. Most makeup brands now, you'll see that certain products are vegan, not the entire line maybe is vegan. It's not so much about a political statement for me, I think, as much as it is
making a universal
including everybody.
Yeah, and again, education, knowing what means what in an ingredient list, so people can shop with 100% certainty and personal choice. Like they don't feel like they've been,
Right.
Absolutely.
Looking at an ingredient and not knowing that was actually sourced from a sheep or something like that.
Right.
Exactly.
And the other thing that we have to remember is that this is makeup heaven, and that has to be universal and inclusive. Like we all have friends and or family that are vegan, right? Everybody knows somebody. Would you want to exclude them from your heaven?
Right.
No,
And
you want
that's
that
the
person
thing.
there.
It's like anybody can partake in a vegan cosmetics line.
Right.
A vegan cannot partake
doesn't work the other way.
in a non-vegan
cosmetics line. Right, yeah.
So again, it just comes back to that inclusivity.
So final question here is, what's next for Elysian?
Well, what comes after primer?
I wonder.
We're working very hard is all that we're going to say about that. So
Well, I'm very excited.
As are we.
As we are.
Yeah. Again, thank you everybody for tuning in and listening to our conversation here. Please be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Instagram, like us on Facebook. We'll be coming back and talking about more of these really detrimental, important, and fun topics. Very exciting. So everybody stay tuned.